You know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network. Woodward Sports.
Hey, let's go! Thursday show, May 16th, 2024. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com, the Fox Local app if you are watching live. If you're watching on YouTube, coming up on 65,000 subscribers on this platform, we say thank you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Big show for you today. Huge show for you today. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you.
I won't spoil the surprise. I know how excited you are, so I'll leave that to you and Maz. I'm feeling good, man. It's Thursday. The sun's out. Got a fresh braid today. Got a fresh cut this morning. Got a workout in. So
looks damn good, too.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
My goodness.
Recognizable, man. I appreciate that. I've been on my health kick, as you called me out on the pecans early. And beet juice. Who knew at 41 I like beet juice, but it is good.
Oh, man, the revelations continue here on the Ermanni and Edwards with Maz program. Tom Mazaway, good afternoon to you.
Man.
Oh, I'm doing all right, fellas. Good to be here on a Thursday, getting near the weekend, and then I think next weekend's Memorial Day already. Jeez, man.
Or Memorial Weekend.
Memorial Weekend,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
movement.
That was a big day in Jersey because that's where all the Guidos would come out and hit the boardwalk.
Oh,
keep
yeah.
their muscles out.
With
on Guido Bay,
white
they'd be
beater
walking.
shirts, the tank tops, and the gold chains.
No
slick
doubt,
back.
man. It's Guido weekend next weekend in Jersey.
All the local pools open up.
Oh, God, yes.
Memorial Day
Absolutely.
weekend, the
It's
unofficial start of summer. Pete Spivak is with us. Silent Mike is with us. So is intern
Silent
Joel
Mike.
in the house. We appreciate him. It's been a great addition to the program
Yes,
so
yeah.
far.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah.
So let me set the scene for you today. Dan Miller is going to join us coming up top of hour number 2. We'll talk Lions
Why is he
schedule.
joining us today?
How does he look at the schedule? How does the
Ooh,
broadcaster
schedule.
look at the schedule? Maybe we can get a record prediction. I don't know. Miller doesn't do many predictions.
He doesn't do predictions.
Because he's official
He's right down the middle.
broadcaster of the Detroit Lions. But nonetheless, we can give our predictions as well. We'll talk a little NFL schedule. And I mean this in all sincerity. In 3 years of doing this show, I'm not sure I've been as excited to talk to anybody as much as I'm excited to talk to the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, the manager of the Oilers. Ken Holland is going to join us later today in about an hour and 20 minutes. Kenny Holland in Vancouver right now. It is game 5 tonight, Oilers and Canucks. So we'll get his take on everything.
In case the youngsters don't know who Ken Holland is.
Ken Holland spent 22 years as the manager of the Red Wings, 3 Stanley Cups, 36 years in the Red Wings organization, 25 years consecutively in the playoffs, one of the greatest managers in the history of the National Hockey League, and now he's doing it again. You know, when he took over the Edmonton Oilers, Braylon, Edmonton had missed the playoffs in 12 of the previous 13 seasons. He has since taken them over in 2019. They have made the playoffs 5 consecutive years. They have also made it to a conference finals, and they're trying to do that again and beyond this year. So we're huge fans of the manager of the Oilers, Ken Holland, Edmonton.
Can't wait to talk to him as well.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you leave a franchise in pristine condition like you did the Detroit Red Wings in terms of his record here, and then you go on to take another franchise over to Edmonton Oilers, and you see the success that they've had over the past 4 or 5 years with Connor McDavid, the best player in the game. It says who you are. It shows who you are. You can be a manager in baseball. If you go from one squad to another squad, look at Jim Leland. And when you're good at what you do, when you're a legend at what you do, it transcends from team to team. It's not just one spot.
Hey, in 28 years of me in this business, Ken Holland has never once told me, no, I won't come on your show. No, I won't take an interview.
Wow.
Doesn't matter if he's off a bad loss, off a big win, when he got let go here or when he decided to leave here, when he went to Edmonton. And they're tough on their people in Canada. They want wins. Look what Toronto does. They fired their coach. The guy's a terrific coach, Sheldon Keefe. They got rid of him. It's hard to keep a gig in Canada without winning a cup. And Ken Holland, thank you again. we'll look forward to talking to you.
Do you remember when you first met? Because I'm going to ask the same question to Ken Holland. Do you remember when you first met Ken, first interview, first discussion?
Yeah.
What was it around?
It was a great time of the Red Wings season. It was 1997.
Okay.
I started in this business in 96, and WJR, where I was, they were the flagship station, so we had really good access to the Red Wings. We were literally 2 feet from their locker room. That's where our place was. It was actually a bathroom at the Joe Louis Arena. We called it the John at the Joe. It was Studio P, Art Regner used to call it. It was hilarious. It was great. It was a great time. And he was a terrific guy. He still is a terrific guy. He's got 4 kids, his beautiful wife, and we wish him nothing but the best. I hope he wins the damn cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, ever since he went there, kind of adopted Edmonton as, our alternate team. It hasn't been so great if you're a Red Wings fan over the last couple of years. This year was a little bit better than years past. And I was thinking last night watching the Dallas Stars play the Colorado Avalanche, how incredible it must be. Just thinking back on time here in Detroit, the April in the D, and that gets a lot of jokes and stuff like that. But Dallas Stars playing the Colorado Avalanche at the same time the Dallas Mavericks were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder.
That's crazy.
One was at home, one was on the road. Fans, you're going back and forth, seeing who's doing what. The game time started about 90 minutes apart. I mean, how great that must be to be a fan in Dallas right now.
Yeah, those cities are cracking, man. Well, that city in particular is cracking. It's a nice new city. They've done a lot of new additions to Dallas over the last 4 years, but you got 2 playoff teams, and they're playing right around the same time as each other, man. The city goes nuts. The city goes crazy. This is when you start to get new restaurants, new stores. This is when you get approved for new events, whether it's March Madness or things like that. When your city is winning, when your team is winning, this is when the events come to your city. So Detroit, pay attention.
When Ken Holland was here, Maz, it was just a better time.
Oh, God, yes.
Ken Holland, the Detroit Red Wings, it just reminds me of a better time in this city when it comes to sports.
Hey,
the Pistons were humming.
Man.
The Red Wings were humming. The Tigers were humming. And, yes, the Lions, they had a couple of good years in there, too.
They had a great 90s.
Absolutely.
They had a great 90s.
But I'm just talking about even with Stafford and Calvin and Sue and that Dallas situation. It was a great time around here, and I long for the days where the Pistons and the Red Wings can kind of be what Dallas was last night, and the excitement of Edmonton, what they must be feeling tonight on Game 5 on the road, 2-2. Did you text Ken Holland? How did that go?
It was great. Hey, Tom, long time no hear. Sure. Give me a ring tomorrow. This was I hit him up at midnight last night, knowing he had 2-3 hours in the bag. So and he hit me back 15 minutes later before I went to bed. And then this morning I double checked with him. I'm like, everything good? He's like, yep. Just give my cell a ring.
That's amazing, man. I love that.
That's what we said since we've done this show, though. When you don't realize the reach you have when you're nice to people. Like, man, you're always nice to people. You're always courteous. You're always very respectful. So people remember that, man. Like, everybody you've always asked to come on the show at some point or another has found time to come on the show, man. Talk to a lot about you.
Thank you.
Going back to Dallas, and by the way, their football team is a playoff squad. They can't get things done, but they're still a 13, 12 team.
And the Rangers won the World Series.
Like it's electric.
Wow.
Like right across the little bridge that takes you from Texas Stadium or the Ranger Stadium to Jerry's World.
Yep.
It's a hell of a time to be in Dallas right now.
No doubt. It's a hell of a time. So we'll talk to Ken Holland coming up in about an hour and 10 minutes from now, if you are watching on delay or if you're just watching live. That's when we'll talk to Ken Holland, Dan Miller in about 50 minutes, top of hour number 2. I do want to start with the Detroit Lions, and I want to start with Jared Goff. We'll get to the schedule in a minute. I'm sure you've all seen the schedule. We'll talk about the schedule in a minute. But I want to talk about Jared Goff because I think he's one of the most unique athletes we have ever seen in Detroit. And I know these big claims are made and these big opinions are thrown around a lot. But when it comes to Jared Goff, he might be one of the most unique surprises in the history of Detroit sports. Jared Goff came here to die as a professional athlete, and he is he is alive and well. Jared Goff completely helped turn an entire franchise around. and he has been rumored to be replaced since the day he got here. And none of that penetrated his mind. He just continued to work. He just continued to get better. And he ultimately became the highest paid Lion in the history of the franchise today.
It kind of reminds you, speaking of like somebody that you didn't expect to take off, didn't expect to become the face of the franchise, and then have tremendous success. Look at Chauncey. We were just talking about Chauncey Billups when he came here. Look, like Chauncey Billups had bounced around 4 or 5 teams before he got to the Detroit Pistons. Yeah, we were a team that was figuring some things out, but we weren't to the tune of what we were when Big Shot Billups is here. You wouldn't have thought Chauncey would have been the guy to come here, revitalize the Pistons, win finals MVP. Kind of a similar story if you really look at it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, Chauncey at the time, too, it's a good example. I think I think there was hope for Chauncey.
Okay.
I don't think there was any hope for Goff. I mean, from the minute he got here, it was like, okay, here's this bridge quarterback who we drafted next.
I got you know, you're right.
And it's been incredible.
First of all, you can't compare the sports. Chauncey's in basketball. Yep. Jared Goff's in football, NFL. We pay way more attention to the NFL than we do to any of the other 3 sports here. Maybe the Tigers would be second place there. So I think it's so much harder to survive on an NFL franchise, especially a moribund NFL franchise that the Lions were back in the day, and they're not anymore. Now they are the quintessential way to build a franchise.
What it goes to show you, though, too, is when people believe in you, you can get back to whatever you were. It's definitely a part of it, Ryan. You can get back to where you were, or maybe get better than where you were, or maybe you get back to a sense of this is who I am. They believed in Jared Goff. When Jared Goff left, you see how he got traded in the middle of the night with Sean McVay and the Matt Stafford, the Cowboy trip. He gets here, no sense of who he is anymore, kind of trying to figure things out. I'm in Detroit. I don't know this place. But Brad Holmes believed in him. Dan Campbell came in and doubled down on him. Once he got with Ben Johnson believed in him. Mark Brunell, his quarterback's coach, former teammate of mine, shows you how old I am, he believed in him. The wide receivers, they start trusting him. Once you gain that confidence, once you gain that trust, they've stayed behind him. Kind of like Mike McDaniel and Tua. Tua was a guy that they were about to get rid of in Miami. Mike McDaniels calls him on the jet, first person he calls, we're going to figure this thing out. Now Tua's about to get paid with a team that believes in him. Confidence and belief in people, man, it takes you a long way.
Just looking at some of the chat, you're absolutely right. Bo says, Ryan, you didn't have hope. That doesn't mean others didn't. I mean, Bo, you're living in an alternate universe.
Yep.
There's not one fan that thought that Jared Goff was going to be the long-term, not one.
Including you, Bo.
There's not one fan in year one when the trade was made that thought Jared Goff was going to be the long-term solution at quarterback for the Detroit Lions. Yeah. Not one Lions fan alive.
Then once you saw
go ahead.
I was going
to say Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell did, but not one fan. And you think back to that year one. Brashad Perriman and Mike Williams were his wide receivers. Neither, I don't think, even saw a game.
Not at all.
One was cut, one was hurt. There was nobody to throw to. And then they signed Josh Reynolds as just kind of this, oh, man, we got to give this guy
one
some
might have even
kind
been
of help.
faking. Remember, Perriman comes here, act like he's hurt, then goes to Tampa and actually wins the game in overtime for Tom Brady.
I mean, it is incredible the turnaround that this young man has had. And Braylon, you talked about people believing in you. He mentioned Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell today, and specifically Brad Holmes, who was with him in L.A. Here's Jared Goff talking about how thankful he is for the Lions organization and those people that believed in him.
Exciting day for me and my family and everyone. And I'll start it off, I guess, by thanking them, thanking my family and my friends and my beautiful fiance, Kristen, for being the rock and foundation in my life and helping me keep good perspective and knowing what matters in life, and just being there for me through all the dark times. I'd like to thank, obviously, Sheila and Rod and Mike Disner for being a big part of this whole thing now, too. And then on to Brad for believing in me from the beginning. He was there with me in L.A. Obviously, you guys know that whole story. And then bringing me over here and believing in me like the way he has meant the world. Dan in the same way. The amount of love that he's poured into me and being the coach he has to me has meant the world. Ben Johnson in the same way, the relationship we have and what he's meant to me in the last 3 years is hard to overstate, and I'm very thankful for both those guys. Coach Brunell, everything he's meant to me as well, and being my quarterback coach, keeping me steady and on the daily, and being there for me when I need him to be, and he's been amazing. And then, yeah, obviously all the other coaches, and lastly, my teammates and what they've meant to me, and the sacrifices they've made, and the successes we've been able to have, the fun we've been able to have, the times, the memories we've made has been amazing, and it's only going to continue to go from here, and I'm very thankful for them. And then, again, lastly, it would be the fans and everything they've meant to me and the support they've shown, and they're a big reason why I'm able to stand here today in front of you guys and be here. So, yeah, thank you to everyone and all those people I named, and thank you to you guys for pushing me a little bit. So.
You would think I watched the interview word for word is almost what came out of my mouth just now, talking about the thanks and the confidence that those individuals instilled in him. Quick story. I got traded to the New York Jets, man, as you know the story.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the reasons why Rex felt the need he could take a chance on me coming out of Cleveland, one of the reasons why he felt that is a guy that's a friend of the show, Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn was with me in Cleveland. He was then with the Jets when playing running backs coach at the time. When I got there, he was one of the guys that lobbied. He was one of the guys that said, hey, look, man, I believe in him. Hey, I believe in Braylon. You should bring him here. He's one of the guys that gave him that boost. So when I got there, looking at that and feeling that way, it gave me that confidence, man. But Jared Goff, if you even look at his first season here, he's gotten better and better even since he's been here. He didn't have such a totally bad year his first year. He missed 3 games, still had 3,200 yards passing, 19 touchdowns. He only had 8 interceptions. So I think you look at what he was, he kind of knew he was with that confidence. They gave him that confidence. He's blossomed since.
No doubt about it. And you hear at the end of that soundbite too, Maz, he says, thank you guys too for helping me out a little bit, because I think the motivation of all of the negative press, of all of the wanting to move on from him, did make him, you can go 2 ways. And I always say this. Somebody says something about you, you can make them be right, or you can make them be wrong. You can solidify what they think about you, or you can try to change their mind. And Jared Goff has changed a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, it's not a question about it, man. I love it. I love what he said. But I'll be honest with you. I thought the Detroit media's been pretty damn good to him. I don't think there's been much negative at all. He came here. He was a quarterback that fumbled the ball, tripped over his own feet, whatever. Yeah, I know he made a Super Bowl. And, yeah, he had one of the great games against the Chiefs in Mexico City that was moved to L.A., if you remember that game, that Monday night game. One of the best games ever on national television. But he has cleaned his game up. You know what? They probably told him in practice, you fumble the ball, you're sitting down. He hasn't fumbled. He don't throw interceptions. He is a completely different quarterback than when he first came here. Right? Am I wrong there?
He's a better quarterback, but I believe we have short-term memory. We don't remember what happened 3 years ago. We don't remember and we don't pay attention to when he first got here. We didn't want him. We don't pay attention to the fact that we were cracking jokes about him walking around Birmingham with security guards. Like, this is Birmingham. We don't pay attention that we wanted to get rid of him, how bad that first year started off. They started off 0-11. We were trying to get rid of him. The outside games, the fumbles, everything. We were talking that, like you said, it was warranted. But we talked bad about him. I mean, even going into the second year, they started 0-6. People forgot that they started 0-6 in year 2. They start 0-6. We were trying to get rid of Jared Goff. He didn't forget all of those things, and then he got better that year, and last year was magical. But there's a lot of hurt in there, and that's why he said what he said in the offseason. I think he's gotten rid of it. But I think you're right. The motivation, a lot of it, was the media and people talking about what he was and what he wasn't.
So many players, once they get paid, though, that motivation goes. Here's what he had to say about the money not changing him, but maybe even making him more driven.
Security. I think, you can go back and forth on the numbers and whatnot, and that wasn't really the thing that was ever something I was extremely concerned with. It was the security and the no trade clause and all that stuff, knowing that all that was in there, and feeling secure, and then knowing that I can now put that behind me and be excited about, or driven and more fired up than ever to go even harder and put the pedal to the metal even more to bring a Super Bowl to this city. And that's what's most important.
Yeah, bringing a Super Bowl to the city, that's what's most important. He's more driven than anything. And the money wasn't everything. And I think, well, who says the money's not everything? When people have the money.
Right.
Yeah.
You never heard a poor person say it's not about the money.
But now his future is up to him.
Absolutely. And again, that's just, neither here nor there. But
there's no Sean McVay pulling any strings.
The
in
part
Cabo.
of the security is way more important to a lot of people. Would he have not taken this deal if it was $199 million as opposed to $212 million? You know what I mean? The most important part of that is the security, the 4 years, the no trade clause, and everything that comes with that. He's not going to get the rug pulled out underneath him, and the Lions aren't trading him to Jacksonville one day. He's going to be here with this team, and I think that's important as a professional athlete to know where you're going to wake up.
Yeah, you know how long there's stability there. You know you're getting guaranteed $170 million. That puts money in your pocket. You're financially secure. You're secure within your team. That lets you know the team believes in you. The city believes in you. Jared Goff, Chancellor, real, you are the starting quarterback. But at the same time, Ryan Ermanni, you got to bring it for all 4 years. If you don't bring it after year 2, there are some questions, and we may not have to bring you back after year 3 and go in a different direction. But it's up to Jared Goff what he wants to be and what he wants to do in terms of his future with the Detroit Lions.
So Jared Goff also spoke about the extensions that Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown got. The Lions have spent over $444 million on 3 players, on Goff, St. Brown, and Penei Sewell. What does that say to you, the fans? What does that say to the team that this organization is willing to take care of their players?
For both of them, it's amazing. Penei was a first-round pick and has proven his worth in the way he has, and has been a rock for us on offense and a rock for me is in protection, and such a great leader and everything. And then Saint kind of proven a lot of people wrong as a 4th-round pick and coming out and being the player he's been, and earning his extension just as well. It's awesome. It really is for me as I feel like an older guy now to see these younger guys kind of come up and experience what I once did experience as a younger player, and be able to see it from a larger perspective now is really cool for me, and I couldn't be happier for those guys.
Mike Florio wrote this a while back. I think it was during when Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra got their contracts, Braylon. And I don't agree with Florio on everything, but I do agree with him on this. I think the Lions taking care of their players the way they did it and not playing any games. There's no cat and mouse games. There's no guessing. There's no making people sweat or wait around or give them indications that they're not going to sign, or if they don't take less. None of that. They drafted these 2 players and acquired Jared Goff. They got the contracts done. They paid them what they're worth in today's NFL, and you move on. And I think that was a real indication to the league that, hey, if you come to the Lions, this is going to be one of the most professional organizations in the league, and there are no games played. You talk about having people believe in you. You know that if you put in the work, this organization will take care of you. I think that says a lot as well.
Look, when you're a franchise that gets it, when you want to be one of the Final 4 and eventually win the Final 2 and try to win the whole thing, look, you got to pay the players that matter. You look at the Baltimore Ravens, Roquan Smith got paid, Lamar Jackson got paid. They played their left tackle. They paid the guys that they need to get down the stretch. They remember the Final 4. The Kansas City Chiefs, they paid Travis Kelce. They paid Chris Jones. They paid Patrick Mahomes. There they are, won the Final 4. How many people got paid for the San Francisco 49ers in the past 3 years to get them to that spot year after year after year? Look at the Eagles. The year that they went, their guys got paid, and they rewarded them after that Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts got paid the next year. You see the deal. You got to pay to play. And you look at the 4 final teams last year, they all reward their players that turn up for them. A.J. Brown, it was the guy for the Eagles I couldn't think of. So you want to win, you got to pay to play, and the Lions understand. Pay fast. So you don't have to deal with that BS and back and forth, and now I got to scrub my social, and now I don't like you, and I'm coming in with bad energy, bad vibes. Just pay and let's rock and roll.
And, you talk about getting paid, and with getting a contract like Goff got, the more expectations that are bestowed upon you, I guess, if that's a way to put it, and $53 million, second highest paid quarterback. I will say I can't think of too many players that I don't think this about, but I don't think that about Goff. I think the expectation for this team is Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And anything less of Super Bowl is a failed season and that might be too strong a word without, with just, sitting here talking about it and not thinking about it like that. But I do think this is a Super Bowl or bust type season. I think every season from now moving forward, at least for the next 3, 4, 5 years, is the Super Bowl window. Let's just say, look at the next 4 years. I think every year over the next 4 years is an opportunity for this team to win the Super Bowl. And anything short of that is going to be an unsuccessful season, because that's what this team's goals are. And regardless of the salary per year that Jared Goff makes, or Amon-Ra, or anybody else, it's irrelevant, because the expectation is the expectation. Jared Goff, whether he made $35 million or $53 million, it's the same expectation: Super Bowl or the year's unsuccessful.
Hey, Maz, I'll direct this statement your way. It's not going to be the same with Jared Goff or Amon-Ra St. Brown or Penei Sewell, that it will be other guys in the league. Once they get paid, you see them taper off a little bit. You know why? These guys went through it together.
Yep.
Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, they all have a story that starts in 2021. That starts in 2020, for Penei Sewell. But it starts with the Detroit Lions. It starts with what they were, what the franchise was when they got here, what the franchise has always been. Oh, you're not going to have success, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Penei Sewell, they should have drafted Micah Parsons. Dan Campbell, you're the head coach. Give me a break. Brad Holmes, you don't know what you're doing. You were an enterprise worker a little while ago. All their journeys they coincide. They're all collaborative together. So I think they're not just playing for themselves. They're playing for one another. They don't want to let the other guy down that was down on his luck or felt the type of way. So I think that's what's kind of unique and different about them. They're playing for each other from the time they got here to now and beyond.
It's like a family. The Lions are run literally like a family, and it's a family that you stay in the fenced area.
Yeah.
You don't go outside the fenced area. Everyone plays together. Everyone does things for each other, and they draft you. You're like one of their kids. Jared Goff was one of Brad Holmes' kids in L.A. Brought him over here. The rest is history. And like I said, we're going to talk about the schedule in a little while. The NFL finally realizes there's a professional team here in Detroit, and the Detroit Lions.
Remember the movie Meet the Parents? Robert De Niro?
Of course.
His family, one of his things. What was his thing? He said, the circle. He said,
circle of trust.
The circle of trust. Hey, once you get in the circle of trust, we believe in you, have the circle of trust. Brad Holmes guys are in the circle of trust. If you do something to get out of the trust, i.e. Cam Sutton, we have to let you go. But once you stay in that circle of trust, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you will be taken care of in the circle of trust.
CJ GJ stepped out a couple times.
100%.
He's not here.
He's not in the circle of trust.
That is fantastic. All right, guys, coming up next, we are going to break down the schedule, look at
Break it down.
all of the primetime games. We'll give you an official record if you want. Maybe we can go game by game, however you guys want to do it.
Time.
We'll have some fun.
It's time.
But first, the message from
Les Stanford.
Les Stanford. How about that? Les
The lead
Stanford,
off.
Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. That's right, Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale with the Buick GMC dealership. Les Stanford Buick GMC, located in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. And if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn, where they have been on Michigan Avenue for over 55 years. Pre-owned car, new car, whatever you want to do. All 4 GM brands under the same umbrella. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Together, let's drive.
All right, drive on down to Michigan's best pet store. You know it. It's PremierPetSupply.com. Family owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food at the lowest prices available. Mike Palmer was here on Monday with us, the owner, the Palmer family that owns Premier Pet Supply. They're the best, folks, and they've got everything you need and overstocked as well. Curbside delivery if you need it. Give them a try today. Don't settle for less. Give your pet the best. PremierPetSupply.com.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
All right, now more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today at 313-530-1698 or visit SwissINS.com. Over to my man, Bray.
Oh, fitness where your fitness is essential. It's okay. You got to drink a little water when you're working out. Your fitness is essential. That's why you got to pull up to Planet Fitness, where they're only charging you $10 a month like they first started. Planet Fitness is simply the place. They have a nice, squeaky, clean gym. I say it all the time. But that gym being clean is definitely a part of why I choose Planet Fitness. And also, 30-minute total body workout right there in the middle. Just come on down. Planet Fitness will show you how to do it.
Thoughts on also opening the season Sunday Night Football against the Rams?
Yeah, I wonder if there'll be a storyline again. I don't know. Yeah, schedule looks good. It'll be fun to play in front of a national audience again on the first game of the year. Again, it'll be the same questions, the same story again. You guys can probably it wasn't that long ago. You can probably just write the same stories again if you want. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be, I'm sure, a playoff atmosphere, and it'll be good.
To play each other. Teams that play each other will re-rack the same game plan against the same teams.
Yeah.
The media always gets, it's the same storyline. It's the same storyline. Like, well,
but it's not.
It's
Stafford and Goff.
Yeah,
it's always going to be connected.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Oh man.
Sean McVay, he did him dirty. We're gonna go. We booed Kelly's kids.
Right.
We're gonna hear it all again.
Right. Jared Goff talking about the Lions schedule. It was announced last night. They will open with the Rams on Sunday Night Football, and this is a much more difficult schedule than the one they played last year. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And you could even just start with the division. The NFC North division teams are much better this year than they were a year ago. Minnesota might be kind of the same without Kirk Cousins, but nonetheless. Back-to-back playoff rematches, L.A. and Tampa Bay at home, on the road at Arizona, back home for a Monday Night Football game against the Seattle Seahawks. Then a Week 5 bye. When they play Seattle and when they play Tennessee, they're gone for about a month of real time between that Seattle home game on September 30th. They're not home again until October 27th against Tennessee. So they go bye week at Dallas, at Minnesota, home against Tennessee. Back-to-back road games again against the Packers and the Texans. Jacksonville at home. Colts on the road, then 3 straight home games, Bears, Packers, Bills, back-to-back road games against Chicago, a Monday night game in San Francisco, and then we don't know day or time for the Vikings at Ford Field. Back-to-back seasons, they end with the Vikings at Ford Field.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. My apologies. Scotty Scheffler just chipped in from 160 yards out. Jesus Christ, he's good. But you look at that schedule, we talked about it. You talked about the additions that the Chicago Bears made in the offseason, whether it was Keenan Allen, whether it was DeAndre Swift, drafting Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick, Minnesota. They made some tremendous moves as well, including the running back position. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to have fun with that skill group this year. And then obviously Green Bay. Last time the Lions played Green Bay, they lost. So Detroit is looking to avenge that loss as well from Thanksgiving. So just the conference, just the division itself, Ryan, you hit the nail on it. It's going to be a tough division. And we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be. Your guy can get in there by the second time they play him. He could be rolling. 2
playoff games, literally, to open up. How you ended your season minus the NFC Championship game. Those 2 wins, those 2 tight wins, and you're opening the season with those. That's daunting right there, man. And then You're only off on week 5. So, Bray, I'll ask you. It's 18 weeks. We're going to give you week 5 off. That means you got another 13 weeks to play after that, or 12 weeks after that. How tough is that going to be for them?
That's going to be tough. But see, that's where Dan Campbell's expertise. Dan Campbell played the game. Dan Campbell's played through seasons. Dan Campbell understands how these players feel at certain parts of the year. So that's where Dan Campbell is going to come into play in terms of when he tapers down practice, when he tends to turn the intensity up on practice. That's going to depend on Dan Campbell listening to his players. So we'll see how good of a players coach he is in those moments. But, yeah, you talk about the opening. You got to open against the Rams and Matt Stafford, a playoff team that got better. You got to play against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't know if they got well. But the thing about the opening, the thing about the same scouting report, Maz, it will be a very similar scouting report for the offensive side. When they're looking at Sam Laporta, when they're looking at Jared Goff, when they're looking at this offensive line and the thunder and lightning between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. But the defenses were to be very different. The defenses where they won't have the defense on film to go back and say, oh, we can just run this with Puka Nacua. We can just run this with Mike Williams and kill these guys, or Mike Evans. It'll be very different looking this year. Carlton Davis was actually on the other side last year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You look at Amik Robinson. You look at Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. This is going to look different. And, oh, by the way, DJ Reader. I keep hearing how good he is at stopping the run. Well, that's what Tampa likes to do with Rachaad White. So how is that going to look? Davenport. It's going to be a very different looking defense. And even Jack Campbell will be a much different player this year than he was last year. So that's what I'm excited about. They don't have the same scouting report on the defense.
What's that, a 3-point spread already?
It is. It's a 3-point spread, yeah.
You guys just know.
Rams are a tough out.
I saw it today, actually. There's like a week
even look.
1 opening lines.
I have not looked at a line. If you give me a game, I'll give you a line.
Well,
I'll be within 2
I don't
points.
have anything in front of me. I just saw it trending earlier today, the week one lines today.
That's a tough out, man. If Puka Nacua almost got 200 yards the last time, and Cooper Kupp had a couple of
drops.
Let's
call it what it was. They were drops.
Matthew Stafford's probably licking his chops to get even with them. I know it's week 1 and not a playoff game, but that's gonna be a tough game for the Lions.
Just sticking with that, and also think about this from Cooper Kupp last year. Cooper Kupp was hurt in and out all last season.
Yep.
He was little nagged here. He missed the game there, played the game here, missed the game here. So he had no rhythm, no flow, and no trust on that hamstring. So, and also they've shored up that offensive line. That was another big concern for LA last year. Detroit got to Matt Stafford a couple times in that game. Now they're a little bit better on that
Jonah
left side.
now.
100% in left guard. So they'll be a little bit better at that. And then they added your guy. They added Blake Corum, who you said is going to be the best draft pick from this class at the University of Michigan Wolverines. So that Thunder and Lightning, it's going to be very interesting to see what they are on offense.
I love the 1 o'clock game. The Lions have 5 1 o'clock
I know.
games.
I've looked.
It is incredible. That's how much this franchise wants to be seen, or the country wants to see this franchise. Primetime games. The Lions have a Thursday night football, a Sunday night football, a Monday night football. They, of course, play on Thanksgiving Day 2 Monday night football games, actually, 2 Sunday night games, and a Thursday night game, in addition to the Thanksgiving game. That is essentially 6 games. Then if you pull up the CBS and Fox 425 games, they'll get Tom Brady twice this season. So this is the Fox game. So week 6, Detroit at Dallas. Week 9, Detroit and Green Bay. So that's the Fox number 1 team.
Yep.
So they'll get Tom Brady. Dallas. So those will be the nationally televised games there too. So if you want, they're not primetime games, but if you want to call them nationally televised games,
that's the big Sunday game, the 4:30. What's the CBS ones? You get Tony Romo and Jim Nantz.
Maz.
Either way, that's fine. I don't know if they got any 425 CBS. Maybe they got one. Maybe it's the Houston game.
I'll tell you.
I'd have to check. Without the benefit of the graphic in front of me, Maz, I don't have it off the top of my head. I apologize.
Guys, yeah.
No, that's okay, Pete. We appreciate your.
It was a 3-slide one, Pete.
Okay. It was. I'll find it later.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. So the Lions are among the most primetime games. There's only the Jets.
The Jets.
Yeah. I was trying to lead you to the primetime.
Oh,
game.
sorry, my friend. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's Thursday night football. There's Thursday night football.
Nope, not Thursday night football. It's okay, Pete. Don't worry about it. I was going to say the Lions are among the teams with the most primetime games. They have 5 primetime games. Kansas City and the Jets and one other team, I don't remember who it is, plays 6 games. There you go, the 49ers. So San Francisco, the Jets, and the Cowboys have 6. And 9 teams play 5 different times officially, which there you go.
They might get flexed too, don't forget. The last month and a half, you can be flexed.
Sure.
The Lions have everything you want in terms of having a they are a playoff team, but in terms of a primetime team, Ryan Ermanni, one, look at the offensive side. They want teams on primetime that are exciting. Is their offense not exciting? Their offense is one of the best in the NFL. Finished top 3 last year. I do believe they have a quarterback that gets the ball down the field. He's averaging around 290 yards, a touchdown and a half a game, maybe 2. So that's exciting. You have a storyline. You have a coach. You have controversy. You go for it on 4th down all the time to the tune of the most of the NFL. And, when you play on primetime, Ryan, in my last 2 years, you win. You have success. You back yourself on Monday night, on Sunday night, on Thursday night, whether it's the Kansas City Chiefs or whether it's the Oakland Raiders, the Vegas Raiders. They play, they win, they come. So, look, Pauls, this is a team that they want to see, and this is a team that always delivers on primetime.
No doubt about it. So there you go. Now, I thought this was interesting. And, everybody sees the game, sees the schedule, sees the game, sees life through their own lens. I thought this was pretty good from J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt posted this. This is what players look at when it comes to the schedule release. Braylon, you can agree or disagree with this. The first game, the bye week, any Thursday night games, any other games that may disrupt the routine, recovery, like an international game, a Monday night football game, etc., and possible weather games, i.e. Buffalo in December, Miami in September.
He's got the order right. Let me see that again.
Oh, sure, yeah. Hang on.
You can leave that up there.
My friend.
First game, bye week.
100%. First game of the week. Who are we playing against? Where is it at? Is it at home? Is it there? Who is it going to be? Is it a star-studded game? Is it not? Is it a division rivalry? What do we need to do to get prepared for the first game? Last year for the Lions, it was Kansas City Chiefs. You knew what time it was. Bye week. How much time do I have to play before I get a rest? Get a chance to reset physically, mentally, get a chance to, just kick my feet up and then focus on the tape, focus on the film, and see where we're at in that bye week. Thursday night game. Thursday night is the first one that disrupts the real focus of the game. Sunday night, Monday really doesn't do it. But Thursday, then you get those days off. You get Thursday, you come in Friday, you're off on the weekends. Now they're trying to figure out when to have you in, how much to do. That's a disruptor, as he talks about in the next one, which any games that might disrupt the routine, recovery, i.e., Thursday night football, Monday night football, and international travel. International travel, like the Jaguars, I don't know how the hell the Jaguars are going to get it done this year. And then possible weather game. Playing in Cleveland, I didn't even have to look at this because I already knew Cincinnati was on
1 o'clock.
This is true. 1 o'clock game, so it wouldn't even matter. But those night games, when you're playing in Pittsburgh, or those night games in Cincinnati or insert, when you're playing December, i.e. the Lions could be when you play Green Bay Packers, those games are the ones you got to be ready for because you got to strap it up.
No doubt about that. You guys want to go game by game?
I'd love to.
How about give me an upbeat kind of mood setter here, okay, Mike? Would you mind doing that? Okay. Who wants to go first, Braylon or Maz?
Let Bray go.
Let Bray go.
I went first yesterday.
I'll go first.
All right, you go first. You got a little something for me, Mike? Silence. There we go.
Silent Mike, baby.
We don't call him Silent Mike for nothing. Tom Masway, here we go. You ready?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay. We don't need to see Maz.
Oh,
maybe
we
we
don't
do
need
need
to
to
see
see
Maz.
Maz. Maybe we do need to see Maz.
You don't need me.
All right, Maz. Let me write this down.
You're going to call him
Maz.
out?
Yeah, I'm going to call him out.
I got it in front of me, too.
L.A.
That's a win.
Tampa.
Win.
Arizona.
Win.
Seattle.
Win.
At Dallas.
Win.
Minnesota.
Home.
Away. At Minnesota.
Loss.
Home against the Titans.
Win.
At Green Bay.
Loss.
At Houston.
Win.
Home against the Jags.
Win.
At Indy.
Win.
Wait, you said Jags at home was a win, right?
Yep.
Okay. Home against the Bears.
That's Thanksgiving. The streak ends. Win.
Home against Green Bay.
Win.
Home against Buffalo.
Loss.
At Chicago.
Loss.
At San Francisco.
Loss.
Home against Minnesota.
Win.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12-5.
Now, at the end of the year, how many did I have them losing at the end?
3 in a row.
All right,
Three of the last 4.
I'm changing one of those. They're not losing 3 in a row.
Okay. 13-4 then. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'll give them a win against San Francisco.
Okay.
Just for craps and giggles. All right, Braylon. Hold on. You ready?
The number is 13-4. I just got to figure out how I'm going to get there.
Okay.
Like that's the
It
number.
ain't easy at the end, man.
Right.
I know. Like it's 13-4 is if you want to have the number 1 seed, 13 wins. I think next year will be the one.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's got to figure out how we're going to get there. Let's
Agreed.
start, Ryan.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Home against LA.
L.
Home against Tampa.
Win.
At Arizona.
It's gonna be an interesting game, but win. It's gonna be a weird one.
Home against Seattle.
Win. Big win too. They need that one.
At Dallas.
I told you Dallas is not the same Dallas they will fall to. I think the Lions blow them out. I think the NFL and the country are ready to let that one go. Detroit finally triumphs in the big D.
At Minnesota.
Win.
Home against the Titans.
Win.
At Green Bay.
Loss.
At Houston.
Loss.
Jags at home.
Win.
At Indy.
Win.
Home against Chicago.
I agree with Maz. They break the streak.
Green Bay at home.
Win.
Buffalo at home.
Blowout.
At Chicago.
Loss.
At San Francisco.
Win.
Home against the Vikings.
This is an interesting one because I was gonna say they'd lose this one, but last year they had the same place and they still played all the guys at the end of the season. I just don't see Dan Campbell as a sit my guys type, so I think they beat Minnesota in this one as well.
Back-to-back years they finished with Minnesota.
That's exactly what I said 5 minutes ago.
What? I think this. And I said it yesterday, but yeah. I think that game will come down. I think they'll have to play that game. You know, Ryan. I think that will be for the number 1 seed with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they play that last game against the Vikings. So is that 13-4?
That is 13-4.
I stick with it.
A 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4. Okay.
Okay, I got you. You ready?
Yep. Hold on.
Payback.
You got to write it down.
Braylon will keep.
I'll write it down.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Braylon can keep track.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Rams at home.
Loss.
Ooh, Ryan's with me. Okay.
Buccaneers
Win.
at Zona.
Loss.
I was struggling with that one too.
Monday night against Seahawks at Ford Field.
Win.
Bye week.
Win.
There you go. At Dallas.
Loss.
At Minnie.
Win.
Home for Tennessee.
Win.
At Lambeau. Tom Brady game.
Win.
At Houston. Sunday night.
Win.
Jacksonville at Ford Field.
Win.
At Indianapolis.
Win.
Thanksgiving against the Bears.
Loss.
Wow. Packers coming right back to Ford Field a week after that. Sunday night football.
Loss.
Or that could be a Monday night game. Buffalo. Wow.
Win.
Another home game.
Win.
Boy, your tickets are going to be worth a lot of money. Bears at Chicago, December 22nd in the snow.
Win.
Get some sunshine in San Francisco in week 17. Night game.
Loss.
Home for the Vikings.
Win.
12-5.
11-6.
11-6.
division chance.
When you first look at the schedule, what's the first thing you think about? When you look at the schedule as described, what's the first thing you think about? Mine's easy.
What?
You only got one cold weather game.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt.
You only have one cold weather game, man. Get Green Bay November 3rd. It'll still be warm by then.
Yeah.
Well, warm for football. That's only one cold weather game. Jared Goff, this could be the season of his career.
You know what? If you think about it, you both have 13-4. I have 11-6.
Somewhere in the middle.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. Last year they were 12-5. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities to finish with a worse record
and be a better team
and win the Super Bowl. This is one hell of a schedule. They face teams in here that are really, really good football teams. I mean, Indianapolis on the road. That's a team that was a 4th down and 3 away from winning a division last year. I mean, there's no let up at any point. The Jags at home are a division championship caliber type team.
They won a playoff game 2 years ago.
Tennessee is better than they have been in years past.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
If the Lions are now this new team that you believe in, a team that has gotten better each year, they went from 9-8 to 12-5. We believe they're a better team than they were last year. Mm-hmm. This is what better teams do. What has San Francisco been doing the last 4 or 5 years? They haven't, just because they're running into hard teams, lose to those teams. They've beat those teams to the tune of 13 wins and number 1 seed, 13 wins, number 1 seed, 12 wins, 11 wins. This is what the good teams do. So I don't want to look at it from the standpoint of they're going to play some tough, rough game. Yeah, but they're a better team. They're supposed to beat these teams in these moments. They should be losing to the Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson. We don't even know what he is as a starting quarterback in this league yet. The Buffalo Bills, they're not a better team than they were last year and the year before and the year before. The Detroit Lions are now a team that we believe to be one of the top 2 in at least our conference. We got to expect them to win these games, and I think they will this year.
Yeah, one of the things too, I mean, Kansas City was 11-6 last year and won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's kind of like I'm
take the regular season off, basically.
Well, I don't want to say take the regular season off, but I think there's going to be bumps along the way.
How many games did Chris Jones miss last year at the start of the season?
I think one.
One and a half.
2.
How many games did Travis Kelce miss last year? And then also look at that wide receiver core. They couldn't get a guy to catch a pass until halfway through the season.
That's absolutely true. I mean, and you are taking you are taking health for granted. I mean, you're one. If you're 13-4, I think you're 100% healthy all year long.
I think the Chiefs.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you, but the Chiefs are kind of an outlier because every year they start over on offense. If you look at their offensive nucleus the last 5 years, every year it's a whole new squad. It's a new wide receiver crew. It's a new running back, a new 2 running backs. Only thing that's consistent is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. We're essentially returning our whole offense from last year that finished top 3 with the exception of Josh Reynolds.
After that bye week, like you said, man, 4 out of the next 5 weeks are on the road. Then you're home again. Then you're on the road again. But then you're home Thanksgiving against the Bears. And then you're home against the Packers and Bills. 3 dynamite home games in a row at Ford Field.
Can you put that schedule back up?
And then you get the Bears twice in 4 weeks again, like last year.
Look at that schedule. And again, I don't – without doing this for other teams.
Yeah.
But if you just look at that schedule, tell me the one team on there that's not going to compete for a playoff spot.
Maybe Tennessee.
Seattle.
Depending upon what that division ultimately looks like.
Yeah, maybe Seattle.
I mean,
they're on their way down probably.
Sure, they're on their way down, but I mean, can they get to 9-8? Because if you're telling me the Bears can get in at 9-8, can Seattle get to 9-8?
Maybe.
I don't
know. They don't have Pete Carroll anymore. We'll see.
That's true.
I mean, I'm just saying there's not one gimme on that schedule.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Maybe Tennessee. Maybe. If there was one game on the schedule, my life depended on it, the Lions have to win this game. That is the game I would say they would do it again.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just beat up Will Levis.
Right. There's no gimme on that schedule this year. Not that there is really any year, but I guess, if you're telling me that if you look at last year's schedule for the Lions, and, we've had the benefit of you've got the benefit of knowing what happened last year throughout the season. But, I could tell you that Atlanta was going to be a win for Detroit. I could tell you that Carolina was going to be a win for Detroit.
They're the only team that do not have a prime time game.
I could tell you that Denver was going to be a win for Detroit. I mean, there were, not to mention the division.
You thought that Denver was going to beat Detroit last year, though.
I don't remember.
You did, because Russell Wilson was your trick to win the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
Right.
Okay, but I mean, even so, 6 of the division games I thought were automatic wins. Now, it didn't turn out like that, but every division game I thought was, a gimme.
If you go 3-3 in the division, are you upset?
That's what I got him right now.
In that division. That's tough. It's a tough freaking division.
I got him beating Minnesota twice, so I've got him going 4-2 in the division.
Yeah,
splitting with Green Bay, splitting with Chicago.
They had one loss 2 years ago in the division. What did they lose last year?
They were 4-2, I believe.
4-2. All right. They could go 3-3 in that division.
And it doesn't make them a bad team. It just makes them a team that's playing in a division that's getting better and better. But also, too, water finds its level, as you always say, during the season as the season goes. Who's to say once we start the season, the Colts are a joke? Who's to say Tampa Bay really, truly, as they're getting older, really is the team that's going to be surprise you and do what they did last year? Who's to say they're not a bust? Look at the Bills. I keep telling you what I think the Bills are going to be, the Cowboys. And look at the Bears. Are the Bears, just because they've reloaded with all these new flashy weapons that cost this money, are they really going to be able to put it together on the field? So eventually it will find its level much like it did last year. We looked at the Chargers like, oh, man, they got to go out and play the Chargers. It's a great game. Lions won that game. Lions won the Raiders game. Lions won, insert game here. That wasn't the Baltimore Ravens game. So you'll get a team or two that doesn't end up panning out like we think they will.
No doubt about it. So that was fun, guys.
It's over already? Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, you guys pretty comfortable with 13-4?
I feel like you meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And I feel like we agree collectively on 12.
12-5 is even fine with me.
Yeah.
I mean, just
if you want to win, if you
win
want
the
to
damn division.
If you want to get the 1 seed, you got to win 13
Even
games.
if you don't get the 1 seed.
Green Bay got 13 games a couple years ago. You look at, sorry, not the game. I mean,
no, you're fine.
The Eagles, they won 13. I think the 49ers last year won 13. 13 seems to be the number if you want the number 1 seed.
All right, let me ask you guys a question this way, and number 1 seed aside, who do you think they're going to be competing against for a number 1 seed?
Eagles. I think they revamped. Saquon Barkley showed us what he still was capable of last year. Now they use him well with Jalen Hurts. Gives him a better sense. He was also injured last year. You add some new weapons. You extend A.J. Brown. The defense you've shored up. I think it's them. And I don't like that division. I think that's a division where they can get 5 wins in, at least 4. So
I still think it's the Niners. I don't believe in the Eagles as much as Braylon and you guys do. Don't forget, they were a complete mess at the end of the year last year. So they've got to redo all of that, get that chemistry back again. They all were against each other. Jalen Hurts was in his own world at the end of last year. Remember him sitting on the bench, just out of it with the glazed look, and they got blown out in the playoffs. That's a tough comeback for them.
You're right. And there were some things that came out in the offseason, kind of a little bickering, a little back and forth. It seems like it's been mum's the word now in Philadelphia for about the last 2 months.
Could be the Packers for crying out loud.
This is true. I just think with Philadelphia, man, like that's always been Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was at the end of the bench in Alabama. He was at the end of the bench in Oklahoma. When they were winning with Philly, Super Bowl, he's at the end of the bench. That's just kind of personality that he has. I think.
Who do you think, Ryan?
I think the Rams.
Ooh, sneaky himbo.
I think the Rams are going to be one of those teams. I don't know about number 1 seed because that AFC West is pretty tough. I think Arizona is a lot better than they were a year ago.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I think that NFC West is going to be tough, but I think the Rams and the Packers are the 2 teams. If you're asking me who do I think the Lions are going to be competing for the top spot in the NFC with all year long, I think the Rams and the Packers.
I can't believe you're dissing the Niners.
I think the Niners are on their way down. I don't know why. It's based on nothing. Their run is too long now. You know what I mean? If these things go in cycles, I think 5 years is, without having a Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes type player, I just think eventually that runs out. I mean, I could be totally wrong. And
we'll see, right?
The Niners are going to be a playoff team.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah, right.
See how it plays out.
Right. They'll be really good. Something about the Niners doesn't scare me. And maybe it's because the Lions beat them last year, and they beat them badly last year. And it was only because the Lions beat themselves that they allowed San Francisco back in that game and ultimately to win it. Guys, we're going to take a break. Dan Miller coming up next, but first a message from us here at WSN.
Absolutely. Shop.woodwardsports.com. You can head there right now and grab yourself some of the latest hoodies, the tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads, including that $775,000 NFL Draft Detroit t-shirt. And also you can grab that new quarter golf pullover for the golf season as well. Head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and load up. Also, what happens when you see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house? It tells the bad guys one thing:
stay out.
That's right. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. And that technology has been proven to work, and those people have been proven to care. So call 1-800
Stay out.
That's 1-800
Stay out.
Call them today and tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda. A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey, gang, awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. You could walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
Top of hour number 2 on a Thursday. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and Tom Mazaway along with us. Dan Miller, the voice of the Detroit Lions, Fox 2 sports director, joining us now. Dan, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, Dan.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Oh, doing great, man.
What's up,
doing
Dan?
great. Now, I'll have you know, usually when you're on, you are my favorite guest of the day, but coming up next after you, we've got the manager of the Oilers, Kenny Holland, joining us. So
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Big game tonight.
He's got a lot of rings.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
good old
big
Kenny
game.
Holland. Just fantastic stuff. Kenny Holland will join us in about 20 minutes. Dan, let me ask you. I saw this from J.J. Watt, first of all. J.J. Watt, this is how players look at the schedule. They look at the first game of the year. They look at Thursday night games. They look at anything that will affect their routine. When is the bye week? And possible weather games like Buffalo in December or Miami in September. How does a broadcaster look at the NFL schedule?
I think he covered it, man. I think that's pretty much the same way. I think you definitely look. There were all these rumors that it was going to be the Rams on opening night, on a Sunday night opening weekend, and that makes sense. It was such a hotly contested game last year. So that one I was looking at to see who they play there. And then, when are you going to Chicago? When are you going to Green Bay? Those two cold weather cities. And obviously, we're going to Chicago late. We're going to Green Bay, and I'm looking at it now, Sunday, November 3rd. So I look at those, and then you look at, the blocks where you have like a couple of away games in a row. Late November, early December, you got 3 home games in a row, including Thanksgiving. So I think you just look for anything that kind of jumps out at you that way in terms of how, are you going to be home for basically a month there with those 3 games in a row?
Yeah, there was a block. I think it's September 30th. They're at home, and then they're not at home again until October 27th with the bye week and then two road games. I mean, they're away from Ford Field for a long time.
4 out of 5 weeks they're away from Ford Field, with the Cowboys at Minnesota, home for the Titans, at Green Bay, at Houston. So, look, we know it's hard to win in this league. So that's basically, not basically, it is 5 weeks where you're going to be gone for 4 of them. So, look, I'm, Ryan, you and I have talked about this before. I'm not big on the whole schedule thing, and I just think good teams find a way to win 10 or 11 games. Bad teams find a way to lose 10 or 11 games. And I've never seen a team that said, well, we'd have been really good if our schedule had been easier. So, just find some way to.
We said that all the time in Cleveland. What? That was words to live by, Dan.
Ermanni will tell you that's on Cleveland's end.
That's right. That's on Cleveland's end.
No, but Look, good teams win, man. That's what they do. So it's fun to see who you're playing and when you're playing them. But once you're in it, I mean, everything takes a different shape. What we think about these teams now will be totally different than what we think about them in September. And sometimes what you think about them in September is completely different than what you think about them in, October, November, December.
Hey, Dan, look, man, it's all fun and games right now, so let's keep it loose. We'll get serious as we get into August and September. But right now, you take away the rematch game, you take away the Rams, you take away the 49ers game. What is the game that you're looking at on the schedule where you got a circle, you're like, oh, this game's going to be fun, or this game is going to be whatever it is? It's a game that you're looking at as soon as you glance.
Well, I would say that if you look at it being a Thursday night against Green Bay at home after they came in here in Thanksgiving last year and handed it to us, that would be one. And then I think at Green Bay too. Look, I heard Ryan talking about it going to break before you guys came to me. It's Packers are going to be good, man. Packers are going to have to contend with. So you look at those games and figure those are the teams you're going to have to beat. And we went into Green Bay last year and ran it up on them, and they came back and made it respectable. But look, they're going to be looking at the Lions as the team they have to beat. So I think those are going to be really, hotly contested games that teams circle. I mean, San Francisco on a Monday night, that obviously jumps out at you as well. Then Indianapolis going there because you get to eat well on Saturday night. So
hey, you know about it.
Go to St. Elmo's, get you a shrimp cocktail.
Exactly. I'm already tasting that shrimp. So you look at that because, believe me, Saturday night restaurants play into this as well.
Because how Michigan has dominated the Big Ten, I always make my reservations at St. Elmo's a little bit earlier than most people.
You got it. You got to do it, man.
I got to pray about this
one.
You're not getting in. 100%. Last question for me. You look at the Lions in terms of what they were last year, 12-5 to get to the NFC Championship. They were inches away, blah, blah, blah. I won't have to go backwards. A lot of people believe they've gotten better in the offseason. But when you say 13 wins, people are still, I don't know, 13 wins is a lot. This team is supposed to be better than they were last year. This team was number 2 in the NFC last year. So what's wrong with dreaming 13-4? They're supposed to find ways to win as one of the better teams, correct?
Yeah, no, look, and I don't know about putting a number on it. 13 feels like a big number for anybody, and I think that's probably where people go, whoa, you're only going to lose 4 of them out of 17. Yeah, no doubt. But you're right. They did win 12 last year, but Braylon, and again, you've been through this. I think it's the interesting thing now is how do you handle success? How do you handle expectations? Now, you had expectations within last year, but now you lost in San Francisco. You got to come back and do it all again. You got to come back and start over 0-0 and earn every single thing that you got last year. I was at Jared's press conference today where he's talking about his new deal and looking back and looking forward as well. And I'm looking at him and I'm just thinking, everything is great, but the hard part, and he knows this because he's been through it. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to the playoffs multiple times with 2 teams. The hard part now is just starting from ground zero and doing it all over again. So to your point, there should be expectations on this team, significant expectations on this team, because they were good last year. And I do think you can make the case that they're better right now. And I still think there'll be more additions to the roster before they even get to the regular season. So those expectations are there. But the reality of that is now going out there and doing it against a Rams team that's going to come in here fired up, against a Bucs team that's going to come in here fired up. Going on the road to Arizona is never easy. And then back against Seattle, who's had their numbers. That first month, we just named 4 games, guys. Yep. Nothing's going to be easy. So you got to go out there and earn it. And that, I think, is the fascinating part about this, and it's the fun part about it. We're in the conversation. That hasn't happened in a long time. We'd be sitting here thinking, can you eke out 8 wins in some years? But it's a good place to be. But also it comes with the expectations. And as I've said before, you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because uncomfortable means people are expecting things from you.
Agreed.
All right, man. Hey, Dan, about Jared Goff's presser today. And first of all, your thoughts on the deal, the thoughts on the 3 players they signed, over $440 million they've laid out. But he said, and he made it pretty clear, it wasn't the money. And like Ryan says, it's always the money. But nonetheless, he said it was the security. He can now call his shot. He's got that no trade clause. There's not going to be any meetings in Cabo coming up on his back anymore.
Yeah, Maz, I lost about half that question. Go ahead and just give me that again.
I was just going to tell you the money they laid out for the 3 players, $444 million, and then Jared Goff saying it wasn't about the money, it's about the security. What's your thoughts on that, the no trade clause, and him going forward?
I think Jared Goff has earned that. I think Jared Goff has earned his place among the best quarterbacks in this league. And when you're among the best quarterbacks in this league, you walk into the room with a hammer and you can demand a big contract. And it's not to say that the Lions weren't comfortable paying it, because I think they were. Look, the person that's had the most faith in Jared Goff from day one is Brad Holmes. When Brad Holmes traded for Jared Goff, he didn't bring him in here thinking, like a lot of people did, that he was just going to be a guy here for a year or two until they developed somebody. He believed that he could use Jared Goff as his number 1 quarterback and that he could lead this thing. So I think what's happening isn't a surprise to the front office. Dan Campbell has obviously had faith in him. But, what's the difference between money and security? I don't know. You know what? When you're the best at something, you deserve to be paid as the best or among the best at something. And I think Jared just got what he has earned, enduring tough times, leading this team to a division title, leading this team to 2 playoff wins. That's how quarterbacks get paid. And then the next one's going to get paid and the next one's going to get paid. So, look, I'm thrilled for him. I've watched him, like you guys have, go through a lot of things here in Detroit, and he's come out the other side stronger, and he's come out the other side as a leader for this team and somebody the fans have rallied around, and a guy that's played at a really, really high level.
If you had to do that deal again, I'm going to put you in Sean McVay's shoes and Brad Holmes' shoes. If you had to do that deal again, do you think the Rams would have done that deal again? And I know they won the Super Bowl, and it's probably, I don't know. I just want your opinion on that.
I think so. I think, look, things run their course, and I'm not privy to everything that happened in L.A. with the Rams, but it became apparent that he was not McVay's cup of tea anymore for whatever was going on, and that things weren't going right on the field, and McVay wanted somebody different to run his offense. So, look, I think it worked out well for both teams. I think the Lions got their quarterback. I think Matthew got what he wanted. I think the Rams got what they wanted. They got a Super Bowl now. Look, we'll see if the Lions can finish the job and win one with Jared as their quarterback. But I think it would be revisionist to go back and say you wouldn't do it, because the time was different, the situation was different, and where these teams were is different now than it was then. If we're looking back at it now, we're looking back at it through the lens of what's happened. Well, they gave up 2 first-round draft choices, but Jared's played really well and kind of reclaimed who he was. Would that have happened in L.A.? We don't know that. So Rams wouldn't give back that Super Bowl ring, I guarantee it.
No, that's a fact. And they've reinvigorated themselves again. Here they are, and Ryan's picking them to win the NFC West. About divisions, the Chicago Bears and what they've done over the last few years, I think they've done a heck of a job. And do you think they are an actual player in that division now? Are they the Lions of a couple of years ago, the 9-8 Lions?
the Bears were in the graphic last year for a playoff spot till like week 14 or 15 or something like that. They were playing well at the end of the year. So, look, I like you. I think they've done a pretty nice job there. I think they've built a pretty good team. They've got some major playmakers on offense now. And you got a young quarterback. I think that's really where my questions begin, is you got a guy who's never played at this level before and a guy who's never seen some of the things he's going to see this year. It's a lot to expect him to come in and do what a CJ Stroud did or something along those lines. Can he come in and play at a high level right away, a high enough level that allows you to win a division? That's the question. But look, I think their defense was solid last year. That offense has added some pieces, maybe some questions on the offensive line. But I think this division is loaded. I really do. I think the Packers are going to be good. I think the Bears are going to make you earn everything you get. I think Minnesota's kind of in an interesting spot in between, do we rebuild this thing or do we kind of try to retool as the car's moving here? I think they're clearly trying to still win this year, not thinking about retooling yet. And there's some pieces on that team that you don't want to mess with. Look, just walking in there and seeing Addison and Jefferson and Hawkinson when he's healthy is a problem. And we'll see how JJ comes along for them. But that's a well-coached team with some playmakers on defense. And I know they lost to Neil Hunter, and I am happy to see him go. But that's a team, too, that you're not going to walk in there and get anything. The Lions didn't get anything easy from them last year, and nothing's going to be easy this year. This division was better than people thought last year, and it's going to be really good this year. And circling back, yes, I think the Bears will be a factor.
Dan, last question. Is there a team when the Lions aren't playing, you look at the primetime schedule and the team that you want to watch? You want to sit down and watch?
I think Houston, based on what they did last year, and then the acquisitions they've made this offseason, I've just mentioned Neil Hunter. They've gone out and gotten pieces.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, they've gone out and gotten pieces. I think that's a fascinating team to see. Okay, can CJ Stroud build on what he did last year? Can that team continue to build on what they did last year? A lot of things came together for them a year ago. It's much like I talked about with the Lions. Now you need to do it. What's Act 2 look like when everybody knows who you are and you've got to go out and do it again? But I think as much as anybody in this league, I'm fascinated to see what they can do, because that was a heck of a year they put together last year, and they didn't just sit back. They revved it up this year and went out and got some players.
Hey, Dan, it's funny. When I asked you that question about teams, that was a team in my mind. I actually wrote down a piece of paper, Texas, for Ryan Ermanni. Yeah, that's the team I'm most excited to watch this year.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what they did last year, and then some of the, they added pieces that we already know can play in this league to that team. So I really want to see how that thing goes down there. And they clearly seem to love their coach and they want to play for him. So I think that's going to be a fun team to watch. Look, we're going to see them. The Lions have to go there on a Sunday night, which is going to be a fun matchup as well.
Dan Miller, voice of the Lions, Fox 2 sports director. Again, you could watch us every day on the Fox Local app. If you do not have that app, you should get it on your smart TV. Dan, thanks so much, bud. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Talk soon.
All right, you got it. Hey, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk to the manager of the Oilers, Ken Holland. Big Game 5 tonight, Canucks and Oilers. Former GM of the Detroit Red Wings will join us next. But first, a message from Wake Up Woodward.
That's right, everybody. Wake Up Woodward, the morning show here on Woodward Sports. You can hear it every Monday through Friday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. with the great Matt Broder, Sam Flannel, Kool-Aid, JB, and Kenny G. Again, catch those five guys every morning, Monday through Friday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, and that would be Woodward Sports. We'll be right back.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to Woodward Sports. A beautiful day in the city of Detroit. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway. It is a pleasure now to be joined by the manager of the Edmonton Oilers, one of the most successful managers in the history of the sport. 22 years leading the Red Wings, 3 Stanley Cups, 36 years with the organization. A man who needs no introduction in this town, the great Ken Holland. Ken, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Nice to be with you guys.
Great to be with you, Ken.
Love
and
you, Ken.
We talk about you all the time because we're reminded of fonder times in this area right now, Ken. And it is just such a joy to see your Edmonton Oilers perform as well as they have. And again, a big game tonight. How do you approach a game like this tonight, Ken? Game 5, series tied 2-2. You've been here so many times before. How do you approach a game 5 like tonight?
Well, it's going to be an emotional, game. I think, when you come into these games, the first 10 minutes are key. You know that there's going to be a lot of adrenaline in the building for the home team with the crowd, the passion of the home fan base. So, got to stay disciplined, stick to our game, and then as the game starts to wear on, it doesn't really matter where the game's being played. But I think certainly the first half, the first period, fans can have a real impact in the game. And I also think, what I learned in Detroit from all those years, the more times that you're able to be in playoff series, and obviously we had a long run there, your players get comfortable. This is our 3rd year. We went to the Final Four 2 years ago, and then last year lost in the second round to Vegas, and now we're in the second round again. So we've been in lots of big series. 2 years ago we went into LA down 3-2 and had to win a big road game to take the series back. So our guys have been, most of our team have been in big games, and hopefully that experience is going to pay dividends.
Ken, just thinking back on that time in Detroit, 25 consecutive years making the playoffs, when you got to Edmonton, before you got there, the Oilers had missed the playoffs 12 of 13 years. You have completely reshaped that organization. How much rejuvenation have you gotten out of the change and building something from absolute scratch into something that is a Stanley Cup contender?
Well, we had a lot of great times in Detroit. At the end, it felt that it was time for a different leader, and Steve Yzerman's come in and done an unbelievable job in building that team. It takes time. Patience is hard in professional sports. And when I came here, first off, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were here, and they were young players. And I knew they were great players from afar, but coming and being with them every day and watching, not only their skill set, but their determination, their will, how hard they work at practice, how hard they work in the off season, how driven they are, and how team driven they are for the team to have success. So certainly there was an engine here of players, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Darnell Nurse, and then obviously we have to go around to build it. And some of the young players that have been here, spent some time in the American League, have now got a real impact in the team. Evan Bouchard, Ryan McLeod, the goaler, Stu Skinner, and then kind of brought in, what I learned in Detroit, the value of experience, veteran, older players on your team. And we've gone out obviously over the last 2-3 years and brought in Evander Kane, Zach Hyman, Matthias Ekholm last year at the deadline, Corey Perry, guys that have been through the battles, and they're, around 30, late 20s, early 30s, and still have lots of hockey left in them. And so now we're banging on the door, and we're playing a team here in Vancouver that finished ahead of us in the standings. Series has been really, really even, really, really close. Obviously a huge emotional win the other night for us in Game 4 when they tied it up in the last minute, and 30 seconds later we scored to win the game in regulation. So it's going to be a tremendous game tonight. And again, like I said, it's two really close teams.
Ken Holland, Braylon Edwards here. I just want to say it's an honor to talk to you and get a chance to ask you a question, and appreciate all that you did. I'm a longtime Red Wings fan, so I appreciate those days, much like Brian Ermanni. My question is this: 3 years ago, you guys lose in the first round, and the year after that, you lose in the conference finals. Last year, you lose 4-2 in the second round. What is different about this particular Edmonton Oilers team with Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, who's my favorite player in the league right now? Shouts out to him and you, but what is different about this team as they're tied 2-2 against the Canucks?
Well, I'd like to think, I think I reflect back, and obviously, the decisions that I make here as the Edmonton Oilers really reflect back on my time of the Red Wings in the mid-'90s and trying to get over the hump, and ultimately, a couple things. Number one, you got to keep banging at the door. I don't care what sport you are. You got to keep banging. You got to keep playing your way through the regular season for an opportunity, and then you keep banging away, and you have some disappointments. You got to tweak the team a little bit. Certainly, the players that continue to be with you learn from those experiences. They've been in big games in the last 2-3 years in the playoffs, and then. Like I said, the addition of Ekholm last year at the trade deadline. He was with us last year. This is his first full year with us. Eki, I think, is 33 years old, so he's a veteran. We picked up, brought Corey Perry in. You try to tweak the team a little bit, get a little bit deeper, get a little bit grittier, get a little bit more veteran experience on your team. And the players that have been here, again, we've kind of been through this, and you've got to. When we won the Cup in 1997, it was a major disappointment in 96 and a major disappointment in 95 when we went to the finals and got swept by New Jersey. We kept most of the team together, made some changes, and kept at it and found a way to get over the hump. Now there's no guarantees. Ultimately, you got to do it, whether it's on the football field or the basketball court or the hockey rink. Ultimately, at some point in time, you got to do it as an organization. But having, my thing is, if you're gonna, this is my 5th year here, you want to be in the playoffs every year, and then you kind of you multiple opportunities, and you build your team and you grow your team, and there's some internal growth with some young players. You got to go outside for some moves, make some moves, and ultimately, you just got to stick with it.
Hey, Kenny, Tom Mazaway, thanks always for your hospitality. Can't thank you enough, by the way. I wanted to ask you the differences between the city of Detroit and the city of Edmonton. Edmonton and Detroit. Can you describe those two places and the fan bases there?
Well, both incredible fan bases, and obviously when I was in Detroit as a manager from 1997 through 2019, I mean, we'd made the playoffs every year from 97, I think, to 2015. The last 3 years, or 16, the last 3 years we missed the playoffs. So, tremendous support. Rink's always full, incredible passion. And I'm very fortunate to have worked in Detroit. I mean, you look back, and the people that I work with, Scotty Bowman and Jim Devellano and the Illich family, and the passionate fan base and all the great players that I was fortunate enough to be around, was, you pinch yourself sometime when you think about those times. And then coming here, having the pleasure to work with, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And there was when you build a team, you got to have an engine. It's a group of players that are elite players, and they drive your team. And that's what happened in Detroit. I joined the Red Wings in 85, 86 as a scout, and you worked under Jim Devellano, spent all those years kind of drafting and developing, and then And then once you get it going and your team is competitive, some veterans want to come with to your team because they think you're going to provide them an opportunity to win. So, that's what we're trying to do here in Edmonton. But two incredibly passionate fan bases, great players, and great ownerships committed to winning. So I've been very, very fortunate.
Ken, I also wanted to ask you about your time here with the Wings, and I know you mentioned a couple of the series. I want to ask you your favorite moment here as a Detroit general manager, and the one that hurt you the most.
Well, anytime you win the Stanley Cup, I guess my favorite moment would be I was the assistant general manager in 1997 and watching Steve Yzerman put that cup up over his head and the confetti coming down. And the Red Wings hadn't won the Stanley Cup in 42 years. And knowing all the building that we had done and all the disappointments, in 95 losing to New Jersey in a sweep, and in 96 setting the all-time record for wins to that point in time, which I think Tampa Bay and then Boston here in the last couple of years have beaten, and then losing to Colorado in the third round. You eventually, when you see Steve's go up in the air that would be my favorite moment, I guess, in time as the assistant general manager, as being a Red Wing employee. I just think, I was a manager for 27 years, Tom, or 22 years in Detroit. We did a lot of winning, we had a lot of disappointments, but it was an incredibly fun time, trying to compete against Dallas, compete against Colorado, and compete against New Jersey. And then I take great pride that in 2005, when they implemented a salary cap and we had to go from I think $79 million down to $39 million and made some decisions, we were the last team to miss the playoffs in a salary cap world. We'd gone 10 years making the playoffs in a salary cap world, and everybody in the league had missed before we were the last team to miss. So, have I got some things I'd look back on? You do a little bit differently. You call them mulligans, absolutely. But I thought that we did some great things too, and it was a fun time in Detroit for my family, and going to Traverse City to training camp and seeing the passion of the fan base. And I've kind of watched from afar. Now I see the Detroit Lions, and I see them in the playoffs last year, and it makes the hair in the back of my neck stand up, reflecting back on the passion of Detroit and Michigan fans.
No doubt about it, Ken, and I'm sure you saw the images of the NFL draft. All those people, 700,000 people in Detroit, and it brought back memories for me, those Red Wings Stanley Cup championship parades and the sea of red that you saw down on those streets. Do you keep an eye on the Red Wings and Steve Yzerman and the job that he's doing? It kind of highlights just how difficult it is to make the playoffs and win in the National Hockey League as well, does it not?
Yeah, I absolutely watched. it was 36 years as a Red Wing. I'm 68 years old, so it was more than half my life I was a Red Wing. So obviously, I follow the not only the Red Wings, the Detroit Tigers, and the Lions. I follow Detroit sports teams closely because it was a big part of my life. But again, you speak to how hard it is. There's 32 teams in the league now. 16 make the playoffs and 16 miss. You used to have 16 make it out of 21, and the league expanded from 21 teams to 32, and still only 16 make it. So, it's actually, it's interesting. I said the other night we'd won the game. We were up 2-0 going into the third period. They tied it in the last minute and a half, and then with 30 seconds to go, we scored. And I'd said that to somebody in the locker room after. It's amazing how hard it is to win a playoff game, and how deep you got to dig. Never mind winning 16 of them, and then you got to, over 82 games, you got to finish in the top half of the national. But that's the beauty of sports. That's why, our sport. That's why I think there's so much passion for, if you become a hockey fan and you're in the building, and you see the sacrifice that the players in our league make, playing hurt, diving in front of the puck, blocking shots, and competing, and the physicality. That's the beauty of our sport, and it's why it's it's so hard to win the Stanley Cup, and when you do, you party your ass off for 2 months because it's an unbelievably hard run to get there.
Whew, no doubt about it, and I'm sure that party in Edmonton would be amazing. Do you feel, Ken, the weight of the world for the entire country of Canada too? I mean, every year the story about the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup, 1993. Is that an extra added weight, or are you just so focused on trying to do what you have to do for your franchise and your city and your organization?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you live in Canada, you're aware of it because they talk about it on occasion. I think you got to be in a bubble. You're just focused on, focused on today. If you take care of today, and then you worry about tomorrow when it gets there, and ultimately, I mean, that's what we did in Detroit all those years. In the summertime, you're trying to make some moves, and you build your team, and then you get to the trade deadline, you try to do something, and then really once you get past the trade deadline, from a manager's perspective, it's really in the hands of the players and the coaches. I'm the manager at every game, and I'll give the coach my opinion on some things and my perspective, and talk to him and be around, and you talk to some players, you bump into the meal room or on the off days, but ultimately it's really in the hands of the players and the coaches. And now, if you're eliminated, at this time of the year, you're really focused on next year. And once the season's over, there's eight teams remaining. The day that your season's over, whether you win the Stanley Cup or you don't make the playoffs, your focus immediately turns to what can we do in the off season here to make our team better. So ultimately, the answer, I guess, is you focus on the things that you can do every day, and to try to make your team better. And then when you get into the playoffs, it's the same, single-minded focus. Just because it's so hard to win, and if you have a little, as a player, or you have a little bit of a bobble, I call them boo-boos. It affect your you could be turn a game and turn a series and you're out. So you've got to have single-minded focus.
Ken, are you still getting in the net in those morning skates?
I've got the pads in my office, but I haven't dusted them off.
You were the best, man. Those morning skates were awesome.
Oh man.
Yeah. The equipment they use today is a little bit different than the stuff that I used, but I bet you never. I don't care how old you get. You miss being in the locker room and sitting there bitzing with the guys and joking as you go out onto the field or the rink for practice, and the camaraderie, and you're in it together and you're a team, and so when you do go down to a beer league game, or you get to put the pads on at the rink at 10 o'clock in the morning with some old timers, brings back great memories and gets the juices flowing.
Hey, Darren McCarty works with us, and he wanted me to tell Uncle Kenny to give him a big hug today. So Darren McCarty gives you his best.
Yeah, say hi to Mac for me. One of my favorite Red Wings.
Ours too.
Yeah. Hey, Ken. Final thing. You've been so gracious with your time.
Appreciate you so much.
You talk about those juices flowing, and you talk about the age, and it sounds like you ain't done yet. And I use "ain't" for effect. The contract's up at the end of the year. Whether it's Edmonton or anywhere else, you'll always, I'm sure, have a job in Detroit if you ever wanted to come back and just be a part of the organization. But how much fun are you having? Do you want to keep going? Do you want to keep doing this? It sounds like you do.
You know what? I love the challenge of being a general manager. At the end of the year, when this season is over, and hopefully it's another month from now. But whenever I'll sit down with ownership and Jeff Jackson, and we'll see where we go. But I love the job. I'm fortunate, touch wood, that appears that health is good. I got a lot of energy and a lot of passion. So, and I've had love the challenge of being a general manager. So we'll see where it goes. But I still have lots of juice.
That's awesome, man.
Thanks, Kenny.
We cannot thank you enough. And
go Oilers.
Outside of the city of Edmonton, I think the entire city of Detroit is rooting for you, sir. Thank you so much for your time, Ken.
Appreciate you, Kenny.
Thanks for calling. Love being on with you guys. And Tom, and thanks for everything through the years.
Hey, we're going to have you on the next round, too. All right, Ken?
We're going to have you on in the Stanley Cup final, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys.
All right, thanks, Ken.
See you, Kenny.
You got it. Ken Holland, the manager of the Oilers.
Good guy,
Cannot thank him enough. Yeah. Unbelievable conversation.
I got
there.
the chills, man.
I know. I got the chills. Like the whole time, it just
I was
took me
enjoying
back.
watching you guys.
Oh my God, that is a great conversation. I felt a little bad cutting him off a little bit when he was trying to tell a story about Mac, but I knew we had to go. We're up against it. He had to go, but we'll have him back. Absolutely.
I got a question in there. I stuck one in there.
You're a fan, man.
Yeah, you're going to
You're a fan.
But also, it's one of those situations where I knew what this guy, the interview meant to you guys. I said, no, I'm going to let them guys have fun.
Absolutely.
I'm going to sneak on in
and
there.
vice versa when Charles Woodson comes out. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. We'll come right back. Our WSN Injury Insider will join us next. It's been a great Thursday here at the network. We'll take a break. Come right back.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Soroki's Nashville Hot is back. That's right, it is at Soroki's Nashville Hot. The chicken sandwich, the chicken tenders, and the fries, they are fire, but they are known for their pizza. Crispy chicken and pizza, to be exact, if the Nashville is too hot for you. And also they have sides, fresh, mind you, and the salad. Soroki's is popping up all around the city. That's because they are the official real deal. So why don't you pull up on them? Tell you, the Nashville Hot won't be here for too much longer. Soroki's.
Every now and again, you need to be reminded, and I got to give you all the credit in the world, Tom Mazaway. I think you are and have always been the best producer in this city, and it is days like today that people should be reminded like that. To get Ken Holland on game day of a playoff game,
second round playoff,
second to none. Well done, Tom Mazaway. I give you a lot of grief, but it is incredibly awesome to work with you every day.
Love you too.
Absolutely, that is my way to say. I
now
love
you guys are friends again.
Good
now
job.
I booked another interview for us as well.
Absolutely,
It's coming up right now.
WSN Injury Insider, the great Dr. Jeff Pierce. How you doing, Doc?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, man.
God, I love the love and the energy in this room.
Absolutely. Feeling good today.
Hey, Doc's got some stories on Kenny.
Anything you can tell.
Anything I can tell.
Tell us
absolutely.
inside the locker room.
Inside the locker room.
Yes.
Kenny's a gentleman at the end of the day. I mean, it was always great.
What is he at the beginning of the day?
Hey, I haven't been with him at the beginning.
There we go.
I'm just going to go where I meet up with him. Anyhow, no, Kenny, I mean, obviously through the great years of the Red Wings where I was involved a lot with the team, Kenny was always involved. I mean, we can tell a story about Darren McCarty's comeback. That's probably the most memorable for me, where I was most involved with Darren coming back. Kenny came out. It was Draper and I, really Drapes, and I was just the doc to it all. But if you remember when Mac came back, he wasn't in the best mental, physical, or any shape at all. We took about a week, cleaned him up, literally cleaned him up. And Drapes got Kenny out. We're sitting in my office in the back room talking about, does he have it to come back? And, more was said, not to get into the details of it, but he's like, yeah, we owe a lot to Mac. And, if he's ready to kind of get the road straight and narrow, we'll support him. And he did. We had milestones for Mac to hit. We hit him, and he stayed straight. And as you know, they won a Stanley Cup that year.
It's amazing.
So and he's still the best.
And still
we love Darren.
Yeah. I mean, Mac is, he's a twisted soul, but he always goes strait.
He's our guy.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot with Kenny. I mean, we did it was fun. I mean, I was mostly with the guys, but always well respected. Every player loved him. There wasn't this kind of division. He closed that door. He was a player's GM. And, with Stevie, I think Stevie and Draper are following in his footsteps, and I think he's got a good prodigy under him.
And not only that, let's just say Edmonton wins this series. You know who they play next? The Dallas Stars. Who's the manager of the Stars? Jim Nill.
Yep.
Under former Red Wing, worked under Ken Holland in the Red Wings organization. Wow. And you look, Jim Nill in Dallas, Brendan Shanahan in Toronto, Steve Yzerman in Detroit. I mean, it's just
could be the Avs too. Could be the Avalanche. They're still alive.
Yeah, no doubt, doubt. But I mean, I'm just
that
saying,
would be a good connection as well.
Right.
I mean, the old times.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, good stuff. Doc, what are you up to, man? What's happening at your office?
Just some fun stuff. What's happening? Had a few young athletes in. That's going on. We have a young softball player that's injured with an ankle injury. So just everything's going on right now. It's kind of the broad stuff. What I did want to talk about is actually someone who actually works for me, who's in unbelievable shape. I think she's just a rock star employee. She's going to be mad I'm talking about it, but she's got 4 kids under 6.
Okay.
She works out every morning, and she hurt herself working out. She's so busy. She's one of my most productive employees. Super phenomenal, always glass half full type of person, and led to her rushing through life like we all do. I got to get my workout in. I got to get my sets in. She tweaks a military press over her head and blows her neck and up
Get out of here.
Yeah. So she's didn't want to tell me. Sees another doctor because she was like, I'll hope it gets better. Didn't get better. So 5 weeks later, she's calling. She's like, I did A, B, and C, and they said this. I go, who the heck told you that? And she's like, well, I don't want to tell you, but what should I do? And then it's I should probably come see you.
Oh my gosh.
So that was today's experience. And she is phenomenal. She's got a military type of husband. It's just they're very fit. I mean, she's got 4 kids, and I think she weighs 100 pounds.
So basically, even the most routine, avid people who work out are making mistakes while they're working out.
Yeah. So it gets to what's better: do less of the reps, do less weight, or push through your reps and push through. So you call it the Macho 101, right? Macho 101 is I'm going to lift more weights. I mean, the guy to the other side of you might be guilty of this too.
Oh, look at this guy, beefcake over here.
I got to get my burn on.
100%.
Now, I just want you to know that. And pecans.
Is that the color of the shirt?
No, this is lavender.
Smells good.
This is lavender.
Lavender smell.
Lavender smells
calming.
Tastes good, too.
I actually use lavender for your neck. It'll chill you out.
100%. You get your lavender neck massage over there, man.
The point is do you not finish that last rep? Do you push it through? Most of our injuries are happening when you push for the last rep. I'm going to get to my 10. You know, who said 10 was the magic number? We haven't really got to that. That's a whole different science we can talk about. But you got to listen to your body, because she's worked out routinely and she was just short on time and she wanted to finish her 10 rep. And she did it on number 8 of 10 in her last rep. And now she's, I can't lose her as an employee, so it's very important for me to get her back up. But the reality is that this is real out for the working class of people who don't have a whole trainer, who doesn't have a locker room, who doesn't have the secret sauce in the locker room. Does Michigan Sports and Spine have a little of that secret sauce? Yeah, we do. We have some of the tools and the things to go. And this is a classic example. She didn't want to tell me about it. She went to somewhere else and it got no improvement at all. She'll be with us and I'll have her pack running in probably 2 weeks. So fortunately, she didn't have a full pinched nerve. She's got what we call a mechanical issue with some nerve irritation.
Somebody told our coaches and somebody told those coaches and somebody told those coaches that 10 was the magic number. 10 has always been the number no matter what level I'm at, whether I was PAL, Little League, whether I was at Michigan, King High School, NFL, you name it. 10 always seems to be that magic number. But just now, for me, just as a person, I don't have to play sports anymore. I do what feels good. I go lighter. And also for anyone, it's about the form. I think that's where people get lost, doing the right form when you're doing drills and when you're doing techniques, having that right form. But also it's cool to taper off a little bit, man. Go to it feels good. When it stops feeling good, don't push through.
We should switch seats.
Doc, are there certain movements that are just unnatural when you're working out that you shouldn't do?
Yeah, I mean, some of the machines, you go through the creation of the machines, like back to the Jack LaLanne days and all that. The machines were mechanically made for simplicity. You don't have that functional of your size or your movement or your natural movement. I like more of the ropes, more where you can go through that natural motion. Dumbbells are better than machines. Machines are made because you don't have that pressure. If you can't finish, to get rid of it, you can just let go on a machine. So there's benefits to both, but the more functional is I don't know if you know the system. I think it's called Teco, where you actually have a rope where you can go through the motions with resistance, or the resistant bands. To get to his size, you got to get some resistance, some true weight, but you got to go through natural motion. That's why I say, the warm up. The warm up is for what? It's to warm up your body, but to also get to a natural movement, where your hands need to be. They're are you inside grip? Are you outside grip? Yeah. You're working this muscle. When you come on a tricep, when you come down, what are you doing? You're working half of the tricep. But if you come and you spin out, you're working the other head of the tricep. There's a lot of techniques of truly working out. So a lot of kids, I'm dealing with my son at 17, he's all about building bulk. Form may or may not matter, but if I did, I was doing 30-pound dumbbells and now I'm doing 50, I'm bigger and stronger. But there's an argument there on his adolescent body. You don't want to build that muscle too big before the ligaments develop, because that can lead to problems down the road. So it's always about muscle balance. It's always about how you gauge it, right? It's, we've always gauged it. I did 10. How many reps of 10 did you do? Even in the combine, it's how many times can you do is it 225?
225.
225 on bench press. How many times can you do in a minute? Right. So those are the measurements, which may or may not be perfectly relatable to functional activity on the field.
That's old school, man. It's quantity over quality. It's quality over quantity, and I think that's the problem. A lot of individuals get caught up in the quantity. I did this amount. How many quality reps did you do of anything? How many quality drills did you do? Quality is how you build safe, positive muscle, as opposed to just doing a bunch of reps and actually damaging your muscles and damaging your nerves.
Yeah, people don't understand. It's when you do a rep, just say a simple curl, you're coming up and then they let down real quick. The more muscle building is on the coming back down.
Release.
Is the release. So that's really where you build the bulk. So you got to spend more time on the release, buddy.
Doc, I wanted to ask you about other parts of the body, like the feet, like the legs. I've got arthritis in my right foot.
Right foot?
In my right foot, on top of my foot.
Were you a kicker prior?
No, I don't know what the heck I did.
What does that feel like? Can you describe the feeling?
It hurts like a son of a gun. It hurts to walk. It hurts to drive. It hurts to step on the brake and the gas. So you go to the podiatrist, you go to the orthopedic guy, and they tell you, well, we can give you a shot, blah, 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 blah. It only lasts for so long, the cortisone shot. And is there anything that you could do for an arthritis? I'm 62 years old, so it is what it is.
The simple answer is yes, right? My goal, like when you come to my office, it's not like orthopedics is class. I'm going to give you a shot. I'm going to do this. You're going to be 100%. That's it. I want to build realistic expectations, but our big thing that we do is we put it on you. We educate you. We tell you what to do, and then understand our goal is 75% better. Because you do have an aging system. It's like the old car. You can put brand new spark plugs in, but you're still working with all the old equipment. So you're going to be better for a minute, but higher expectations, but it's also you understanding what you should be doing. To strengthen, you can always strengthen. We've proven you can strengthen a 90-year-old person, a 100-year-old person. Doesn't work the same as a 20 and a 15-year-old, but still you throw out 62, you're 62 is the new 42 if I let you know that. But
thank you.
Basically,
man, Tom.
I am.
You get that policy.
I got it.
No, but yes, there's things you can do. It's not just a shot and out the door, a shot and a cream and whatever. It's a disciplined program that you need to do. You need to evaluate, what's going on. There's scoping, there's creams, there's like you said, secret sauce.
And they sell it over the counter. They sell the arthritic cream and all of that you put on your foot, and you can even go up from there.
But that just cuts down inflammation. That doesn't build the.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this on this show, but we talked about core muscle. Like we know about core. If I say core muscle to all you guys, you automatically go to your belly, right? Your core. There's a core around every joint. There's a core around the shoulder, the elbow, the ankle, the foot. All of it has core musculature. The hip is big. The hip and the knee are becoming more popular to understand what the core is. But the ankle definitely has a core. It's got the most bones in the body besides the hand.
Right.
It's second to the hand for the most bones. So there's things and joints and things you can do, but you have to have someone who really takes the time to understand it. Like you need to go to a foot therapist. I don't know how bad you are, but if you're having pain every day,
I am.
Then you need to, my rule is that you guys can all recite. You're having discomfort for 2 weeks, you need to come in and see somebody.
It's a pretty good general rule.
I'll be there.
You're always welcome. The door is open.
Thanks, Doc.
The door is open.
I got good insurance.
The door is open always at MichiganSportsAndSpine.com. Look him up online. Give him a call. Dr. Jeff Pierce, our WSN Injury Insider. Thanks, Doc.
You good? Oh, we didn't talk. We got minutes?
We got 1 minute, 60
right.
seconds.
Just a shout out for Colorado last.
Oh, yeah, baby. Colorado.
Okay, I've just got a little beef. My son got benched for being in Colorado with his sister for Monday's game.
No kidding.
Or for Tuesday's game. So I didn't want to bring it up, but I brought it up.
Got to.
He stood up as a man, talked to his coach, texted him. I was so proud of him. And he said it very eloquently, better than I would have, to the coach. Coach pulled him aside, played him in the second half.
Good.
First half score, 7-1. They're losing. Second half score, 6-4. Alec gets 3 goals, 2 assists. Out of the 6 goals, they lose 11-7.
Dang,
Which
man.
means if he would have played, they would have won.
Savage.
It's all right. He made the right choice.
And I do not want sports, and a lot of people have these stories. We're not picking our sport over our family event. So,
amen to that.
That's a fact.
So
Good for you, Doc. I'm glad you did bring that up. I'm glad you did. That is an important message, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Time
totally
over
agree with you.
everything. Time over everything.
It was a special event.
Yep.
It was a special event. I'm not talking about the families over going on the boat type of thing.
Even if they did. You know what I mean? Even if they did. Yeah. Bray, get us out of here, bud.
Thanks, Doc.
Hell of a show out of you guys. Tom Masway, we appreciate you again, man. You got Ken Holland on, man, a true Detroit legend, Red Wing 3 Cubs that man was responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we got the man Dan Miller on. Always great to have Dan on here talking about the Detroit line. We'll get more into the schedule as the week goes on. We have one more day, I should say, talk more about the schedule. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll do a maybe either or, something like that.
Ooh, either or.
We'll have some fun, man, but we appreciate you guys for tuning in daily. This is Woodward Sports Network. This is where we do it. I am Braylon Edwards. That is Ermanni over there. And this is the man himself, Tom Maz. We appreciate you, Pete, and Silent Mike, and also Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine Center. Excuse me. See you later.
See you tomorrow.
Peace out.